Welcome to my kitchen. I love seeing you here. I'm Jamie and this is Eat Homemade. Today we are making a cozy, comforting recipe, my grandmother's gingerbread recipe. Now, after my grandmother passed away when I was just a teenager, I was able to go to her home and choose something that would remind me of her, and I chose her very special recipe book. It is full of typed and handwritten recipes that I have enjoyed over the years when I was a child, and I love that I'm going to share one of these with you today. This gingerbread recipe is so easy to throw together. It is truly a comforting recipe that will fill your home with beautiful aromas, some festive aromas as well, with the cinnamon and the ginger in there. So let's get started and let me show you how easy it is to pop it together and how beautiful it is to taste. So I love to set the mood in my kitchen so it's nice and cozy, and I've got a beautiful gingerbread candle that I've lit as well. So starting with my butter, I've got 125 grams of butter, and I'm also going to add my brown sugar, a nice soft brown sugar, 130 grams of that. And then I like to weigh my golden syrup on my scales straight into the pot so they don't have to dirty a cup or a spoon. Now I'm going to pop this onto my stovetop on a low heat. I'm going to melt down my butter, my golden syrup and my brown sugar until it's nicely blended. This makes sure that there's no grainy parts of the sugar as well. This is how we want it to look. We don't want to bring it to the boil, and we want it just to be nicely melted. I'm going to let this cool while I get my other ingredients ready. In my mixing bowl, I'm going to add my flour. I've got just plain flour, and I've got 380 grams of flour. I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking soda, and then our lovely spices. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I've got 3 teaspoons of ginger in here. Now that our mixture is slightly cooled, I can go ahead and add it to my dry ingredients. And now to this, I'm going to add my milk, and I've got 170 mils of milk measured out. And you can see that this is just a simple throw it together recipe. Now, the recipe calls for 1 egg, but because our chickens are laying these teeny tiny eggs at the moment, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 2. 2 of these small eggs will equate to 1 medium to large size egg. And of course you could whisk your eggs first before popping them in, but I like to just add everything in. It makes it so much easier. And you can stir this recipe well so that it's combined, or like me, you can use your beater. This makes sure it gets a bit more air in it as well. So after I've blended it for about a minute and it's nicely mixed, I'm going to grab my spatula, and you can see that it's a nice sticky mix. This is exactly how we want it to look. And now I've got my baking dish, and I'm going to add a little bit of brown parchment paper to this as well so it doesn't stick and it comes out nice and easy, and we can just go ahead and pour it in. This is such a lovely, soft yet sticky gingerbread recipe, and I add some sugar to the top as well in a moment so that it is nice and crunchy.
I'm just going to make sure that I get every last bit out of here so that we're not wasting any mixture. Now I add about a teaspoon of raw sugar to the top. And maybe just a little bit more for luck, why not? And I'm going to pop this in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 30 to 35 minutes. When I bring my gingerbread out, I like to check that it's cooked. You can pop a knife in, or I like to use a chopstick, and when the chopstick comes out nice and clean, I will know that this is cooked. You can see that there's nothing on the chopstick, so I know that it's cooked in the middle. Now the secret to cutting your gingerbread and having beautiful slices is to make sure you let it cool first. It doesn't have to be completely cooled because it's morning tea and we want to get stuck into this straight away, but the longer you let it cool, the better it will slice. Now that it's lovely and cooled to the touch, I'm going to go ahead and slice it up. I like to cut this into really big pieces so that I can freeze it easily, and when I take it out, it will just pop into the toaster. It looks so good on the inside. So this is still just slightly warm. It's going to be perfect to put a little bit of butter on and have for morning tea. I wish that you could smell how amazing this is with the cinnamon and all that lovely ginger and then the melted butter on top. It tastes amazing. I'm going to slice the rest of this up and it will just go into the freezer, and I'm going to be able to put it in the toaster frozen and pop it down a couple of times, and it's going to be absolutely perfect for morning teas.